Hi, Jeffrey Lessel here. You can call me Geo. It's been a long time since I made a video, and as you can see, I'm in a new spot, at a new desk, in a new state, in a new house. So everything's a bit new, and it's been a long time since I've had everything set up. So I thought, well, I'll get it set up today, and I'll make a little video. I had an idea this week during work that I wanted to have a function that would load up some notes, so like a cheat sheet for me while I'm trying to remember something. It came because I was trying to use Evil Surround, and I could not remember all the key presses, and I struggled with that a few times, multiple times. And so I was like, you know what? I just need a quick cheat sheet for myself, and I'd like a quick way to bring up that cheat sheet. So like, well, I can make a function to do that. So this is going to be an exploration of doing that live. I honestly don't know exactly how this is going to go. I don't know how far we're going to get. I have a few things I'd like to try, but I don't know how it's going to go. I have done a little bit of work beforehand to bring up a display buffer beneath the current buffer, and we'll go over that here in a little bit as kind of our first steps. But past that, I'm not sure. So we're going to be looking up documentation. We're going to be possibly even going to Stack Overflow and go from there. So let's dive into it. All right, so here you can see I have a kind of a blank canvas here for ref card mode. And I decided to name it ref card mode mainly because there wasn't anything named that already in Melpa. And I thought, well, let's go ahead and do that. And you may be asking, why have a whole mode? And part of it is because I'd like to be able to use Q to quit and just bring up a quick read-only buffer. And we'll kind of explore that here in a little bit. So the first thing is I'd like to define a function that brings up a window or a buffer beneath my current buffer to show my information. So let's just call that ref card display card. And I kind of thought the terminology for these little text files would be cards, reference cards. And that will be a file name. This will be interactive. And let's leave that there for now. So what do we need here? We need to take the file name of the file and basically create a buffer and display that buffer beneath the current buffer. So we first need to look up that. So let's say let file name. We're going to override file name here. Oh, this is part of the interactive. So one thing I've recently learned is that you can supply a Lisp function as the argument for interactive. So instead of selecting a file name through the normal file selector, you could do that, but then what I would like to do is provide a default directory. So that file name, we're going to do read file name, which will, I think it's read file name, which will bring up a file chooser that you have. And arguments are the prompt and then a default directory. Here, we may break this out in a little bit as like a customizable variable. But for now, we'll just hard code it. And let's say ref cards. How about that? Nil T. So let's bring up, why am I doing this nil T? So let's bring up some help here. So Control H and then F for function, and then read file name is right under there. So first we have the prompt, and then optional is the directory, which we provided is my Emacs ref cards directory. And then the default file name. I don't want to have a default file name because that's the whole point of reading this file is I don't have a default. And then must it match? Yes, we are going to require a match because what's the point of bringing up a ref card if there is no file for that ref card? And the idea is each file would be its own ref card, and I'm thinking that the ref card would be an org mode file so you could have nice organization and display, and Emacs can handle all that for you. We're not going to go into initial and predicate because we don't need those. So let's try this. So let's just say read file name. File, and then let's execute this. So Control X, Control E. And so you can see file, ref cards. Actually don't have a ref card, so let's make that directory. Make directory. I'm going to make it in .emacs and then ref card. That's what it was. Make directory. Okay. Now we have that. So Control X, Control E. We have the ref cards directory, and well, I have no file, so that's kind of weird. So we can't read it yet. But you can see the in the mini buffer how that completion works, and I'm using Vertigo as my completion thing. So it may look a little different on your setup. All right, so that's how we read the file name. We're going to put that in the file name variable, and for the interactive, it's going to expect a list, and right now we only have one argument to our function, and so we just need to return a list of one. So I'm just going to use this list file name thing. One thing I should mention is I am not an Emacs Lisp expert. I am, if you're watching this, then you have interest in Emacs and potentially eLisp, and if that's the case, then I'm likely just 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. If you have used Emacs for a while, it's very likely I'm 1 or 2 steps behind you. So I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm an intermediate. I can find my way around. I've learned how to read documentation and mess around with built-in Emacs things. But past that, I'm still pretty new. So if you know of a way to do these things better or differently, then please let me know in the comments, and we'll take a look at that later if it's something you want to do. Now, so we have our file name, and we need to do something with it. So we have, let's see, buffer name. I'm kind of looking at my notes here. We'll call this our buffer ref card for now. We may eventually append like the name of the file name. But for now, let's just name it ref card. We don't need to think too much about it for now. Then there's this with current buffer function that we can use that kind of initiates a buffer and allows us to work within it inside the function. And we're going to get buffer create. And what that does, let's take a look at the documentation. Control H, Control F, and then get buffer create. So it returns the buffer specified by buffer or name, which is the first argument, creating a new one if needed. So if there's one that's already created, in this case, the ref card buffer name, then it'll just bring that up. But if there hasn't been one created, then it'll create one for us, which is nice. So that's going to be our buffer name, is the name of the buffer. And then one thing I saw online about how to make this a little faster is we can, since it's only going to be read-only mode, we can make the undo, we can disable undo. So buffer disable undo. Okay. Past that, we need some way to get the contents of the file into the buffer. So before we do that, let's just create a file. Emacs, no Emacs. There we go. Ref cards. Let's just create test.org. This is a ref card. Do org mode stuff in it if you want. And then, like the reason I made it initially was to remind myself of key combinations. So, for example, it could be control slash. How about define that as search with ripgrep. Okay. All right, just a simple test file that we can use to read the file name. So now if we read file name, if we run this function again, we can see that test.org is down there. And if we hit that, it'll give us the path to that file name that we selected, which is nice. And that's going to pass it in as our file name argument. So with the buffer name ref card, we're going to disable the undo. And then if we look into the documentation here, this is just dash on Mac. It's a way to read documentation. This is all like built into Emacs as well, but sometimes I like the way that dash allows for searching and things like that as well. So if we look for insert file contents, First of all, it's in this files section. So actually, if we go to, let's say, Control H for help, and then my which key is going to come up. If we look for, let's see, info, and then I'm going to search for file, octave mode, no, speedbar, I do, no, champ. Actually, it's not in there. So it's going to be in Emacs Lisp, actually. So let's go back to that, actually. Control H, I think I saw Emacs or eLisp. Let's go in the eLisp reference manual. And then in here, we should be able to find files, accessing files. So let's go in there, menu, visiting files, reading from files. That's kind of what we want. So we have this insert file contents. And it says this function inserts the contents of file name, which we already have because of our reading of it in the mini buffer. This function inserts the contents of file name into the current buffer after point. And point, you can set the point and then do that. It returns a list of the absolute file name and the length of the data inserted. We don't really care about that, so we don't need to worry about the return. An error is signaled if file name is not the name of a file that can be read. And obviously, if this is going to be a real mode, error handling is something that should be done. But for now, I'm just going to not worry about it and pretend that it's always going to work exactly how I intend. That's a safe assumption, isn't it? So let's try this. So insert file contents, file name, and then optional is visit, beginning, and end, and replace. So what are those? Do we need those? So visit, if visit is non-nil, you know what? I'm going to, let's increase the file size here. I should have done that at the beginning. Sorry about that. Go back here. Let's just close this as well. All right, so where was insert? If visit is non-nil, this function additionally marks the buffer as unmodified and sets up various fields in the buffer so that it is visiting the file name. We don't really want to do that. We just want to insert it into a temporary buffer. So that should be nil. And again, it's optional, so we don't really need it unless we need also the beginning, end, or saving. Let's see, info back. What's that? Okay, there we go. So up here it says, optional is visit, begin, or beg, end, and replace. We don't need visit, so that's got to be nil, but we might need beg, end, or replace. So let's keep looking at those. So if beg or end happens to be in the middle of a character's multi-byte sequence, let's go up here. If beg and end are non-nil, they should be numbers that are byte offset specifying the portion of the file to insert. In this case, visit must be nil. So this inserts if we have 0, 500, it inserts the characters coded by the first 500 bytes of a file. We'd like the whole file to be in there. So both of those are going to be nil. So far we have nil, nil, nil. Now do we need to replace? If we don't need any of them, we can just leave them all out because it's nil by default. If the argument replace is non-nil, it means to replace the contents of the buffer with the contents of the file. Now this is something we're probably going to want, especially if we have a reused buffer name that isn't specific for the file that we're reading, the ref card file that we're reading. This is better than simply deleting the buffer contents and inserting the whole file because 1, it preserves some marker positions, and 2, it puts less data in the undo list. So that's what we want. Let's do that. So we wanted insert file contents. I can make this even bigger. Let's do that. Insert file contents. We have our file name. We don't need the we don't need the visit. We don't want to visit. We don't need beg. We don't need end, but we do want it to replace the entire contents of the buffer. Set buffer modified p. No. So what is this? Why am I doing this? Let's take a look at this function. So buffer modified p. Mark the current buffer as modified or unmodified. So I don't want it to, a non-nil flag means mark the buffer modified. So again, we want this to be read-only. And one way to do that is just, one way to not have some Emacs things pop up for like wanting to save the buffer. We can just say, hey, it hasn't been modified. So it's not going to be modified. And also, these are going to be org mode files for now. So I'm just going to straight up start org mode on these files. And again, that might be customizable. if this grows into an actual mode or a package or something. And then we can let view read only nil and then read only mode T. Okay, so what is this? So let's go to read only mode. And I've been mentioning previously that we want it to be read only. And so this seems like the perfect function to do that. So let's look at the documentation for this, read only mode. Change whether the current buffer is read only. So here's where the view read only comes in. It says if buffer is read only and view read only is non-null, enter view mode. Now this is something that I'm honestly not sure about because in researching some of these things, I noticed someone mentioned that view mode may not be the thing we want. And I initially thought this is what we want because if you press Q, it just closes the buffer and it lets you keep going. Which, you know what? Let's try that first and see what happens. So I'm going to follow this view read only and see what happens, or see what it says in the documentation. So non-nil means buffers visiting files read only do so in view mode. In fact, this means that all read-only buffers normally have view mode enabled, including buffers that are read-only because you visit a file you can't alter, and buffers you make read-only. Let's just try it, because I think this might be easier. So I'm going to leave this, but just say view read-only true, and then read-only mode true. I'm doing this on one line. It might be easier to read if I had done it like this, but since I'm only setting this within this context, view read-only mode in the context of read-only mode. I'm going to go ahead and put it on one line just to remind myself that this is a single thought, really, a single thing we wanted to do. And then let's go to car point min. So this basically resets the cursor to the very beginning of the file after we've loaded it all in, which is also what we want. All right. I think that's going to be the end of our let. So, sorry, with current buffer. So all this is with current buffer. This is the things we're going to do with the current buffer. So now what do we do? Now we want to display that buffer. There's this function, Control F is pop to buffer. So this displays buffer specified by buffer or name and select its window. So it could be a buffer, it could be a string, which would be the buffer name, or it could be nil. And if it is a string, not naming this in buffer, create a buffer with that name in it. We don't need all that. Okay, so what we want is pop to buffer, buffer or name, and then optional is action and no record or no record. Let's look at action. This uses display buffer as a subroutine. That's interesting. We may need to look at that. The optional action argument is passed to display buffer as its action argument. Okay, so we're going to have to look at display buffer to see what that subroutine is. See display buffer for information. That's what I was just suggesting. Action is T if called interactively with a prefix argument, which means to pop to a window other than the selected one, even if the buffer is already displayed in the selected window. Let's go into display buffer. Actually, let's first write what we know so far. So pop to buffer, and the buffer name is buffer name, still within this let context here. So we have a buffer name. And now we're getting to the optional action. And let's go to display buffer. Let's see, display buffer or name in some window without selecting it. Okay, to change which window is used, set display buffer A list to an expression containing one of these action functions. All right, so this tells us where that window or where the buffer is going to be displayed in the window or in the frame. So we can use the selected window. We can use a window already showing the buffer. We can use a window that did show the buffer before. Use some existing window. Use least recent window. Try to avoid reusing windows that have been recently switched to. That one could be interesting. Might be one we want. We have pop-up window. Pop up a new window. We have delete other windows and use the full frame. We don't want that because I'd like to have what I'm working on still available. We have use or pop up a window below the selected one. This is my initial thought of how we'd want to act. So be below the window. buffer at bottom, use or pop up window at the bottom of the selected frame. So, oh no, we don't want a window. We just want, oh wait, use or pop up a window below the selected window. Use or pop up a window at the bottom of the selected frame. Okay, so like if I had 3, then this one would, below selected would potentially pop it between the top one and the, if I had 2 of them. This one would, below selected would potentially put it in between the 2, so then we'd have 3. But what I want is all the way at the bottom, so it looks like at bottom is the way to go. No one. Okay, let's try that. So display buffer at bottom. So it's an A list. So we want display buffer at bottom. Okay. And then let's go back and see here. So now we have other things we should look at. So action A-list entries, some more of the action A-list entries. Inhibit same window. A non-nil value prevents the same window from being used for display. I do want that. I don't want it to use the same window. I still would like to have this help up while I'm working on the file, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this here. So now we've got 3 buffers displayed. And we want inhibit same window to be true. So inhibit same window, because we don't want it to pop up in the same window we're looking at. That's true. So what else do we have here? What other options? Inhibit switch frame. A non-nil value prevents any frame used for showing buffer from being raised or selected. No, we don't want that. Reusable frames. Specifies a set of frames to search for a window that already displays buffer. No. Pop-up frame parameters. Specifies an A-list of frame parameters to give a new frame if one is created. Yeah. Window height. This may be one that we're interested in. This value specifies the desired height of the window chosen, and is either an integer, which is the total height of the window, a floating point number, a cons cell whose car is body lines and whose cdr is an integer that specifies the height of the window's body and frame lines, or a function to be called with one argument, the chosen window. That function is supposed to adjust the height of the window. Suitable functions. So here are the functions we could use. Fit window to buffer and shrink window if larger than buffer. Let's do fit window to buffer. Let's see how that works. So we want the window to just be big enough to fit the buffer that we've created. Now, is there anything else we need? Window width? No. Window size? Only useful for windows appearing alone? No. Preserve size? No. Window parameters? Specifies an A-list of window parameters to give the chosen window. No. Okay. All right. Let's try that. So let me close that and close this help. Close that help, and just have this, and then we close this pop to buffer. So this is with all our pop to buffer arguments, and then I think that might be the last thing we need. So this closes our let, and finally we close our function. So this is our function. Should we try it? Let's define it. Control X, Control E. No errors. Let's call it ref card display card. All right. So it brought up the completion, which is good. So we can use test.org and see what happens. All right. So okay. See down at the bottom in the mini buffer it says view mode. Type F1 for help, Control HM for commands, Meta X view quit to quit. So this is where I'm not sure I don't know if view mode is the right thing to be in or not. But all I want is to be able to move around and with my evil bindings, and then press Q to quit it, to go away. Let's see if that works. So down, okay, those work. I can move around inside, go by words, go backwards. Now let's press Q, see what happens. It goes away. Okay, that's what we wanted. Now, one thing I noticed, and you might have noticed too, is that it didn't, oh, that's interesting. It didn't shrink down the, sorry, I just got distracted by that message in the mini buffer, which we'll have to tackle here in a second. But I didn't shrink the window size down to fit window to buffer. And what I realized is this is supposed to be a cons or an A list, a console with window height. That's what we're actually defining here. So this is the function that defines the window height. So I messed that up. So let me redefine that. Now, we have that issue. Now, if we try to call it again on test.org, it says buffer is read-only. Now, why is it giving us that? That's because we have set it into read-only mode, but we didn't kill it. So when we pressed Q, I think we just closed that window. We didn't destroy the buffer. So if I look at my list of buffers, yes, test.org is still there, which we don't want. So let me try killing that and try calling it again. Test.org. No, it's still marked as read-only. I wonder... All right, well, let's try this. Let's just set read-only mode nil first before it tries to insert the file contents, because essentially it brings up get buffer create, gets the buffer that's already named ref card, and tries to insert the file contents, replacing the entire contents with the file contents. But it can't do that because we've told it, hey, this buffer is read-only at the end of this function here. But we never told it afterwards that, hey, never mind, it's no longer read-only. So let's try this. Let's set read-only mode nil first. So disable read-only mode, then enter the file contents, and then later set it back to read-only mode. So let's redefine that. Try calling it again. Does it work? Buffer read-only, buffer ref card. How to really kill the buffer? Kill the buffer. What was it? Test? See, it's not even listed in my buffer list, which is confused. Oh, it was ref card. Ref card. That's what we wanted. Did it kill it? Ref card, is it still there? No. Okay, so let's try it again. Not ref card, display card, test. Buffers read-only, buffer ref card. Dang it. Well, show me that. And then let's look at the variable read-only. Buffer read-only true. So if we try to type in here, we can't. Let's try to set that variable false. Buffer read-only. Let's toggle that. Buffer local variable. So it's nil in this buffer. So can we? Okay, we can write in it now. Oh, and you notice that I tried to undo. No undo information, which is great because we don't want to undo. So now let's try going back to our ref card mode file. Let me save this for now, and then run display card again on test.org. Buffer is read only. All right, let's go back to that buffer and try to set read-only mode. Read-only mode disabled. Okay. All right. Go back. Display card, test. Read-only. All right, let's try killing it. Oop, I killed the wrong one. Let's bring that one back. I need ref card mode. There we go. Let's go to the ref card buffer here. Kill it. Buffer kill. Let's try now. Test. The buffer doesn't exist. Why is it read only? Maybe read-only mode nil isn't what I try to do. So let's read that. Control H, Control F, read-only mode. Change whether the current buffer is read-only. Optional arg. Do not, interesting. Do not call this from a Lisp program unless you really intend to do the same thing as the Control X, Control Q command, including possibly or enabling or disabling view mode. Also, note this command works by setting the variable buffer read-only, which does not affect read-only regions caused by text properties. To ignore read-only status in a Lisp program, Bind inhibit read-only temporarily to a non-nil value. Okay, hold on. This looks interesting. Non-nil means disregard read-only status of buffers or characters. Yes. A non-nil value that is a list means disregard buffer read-only status and disregard a read-only text property if the property value is a member of the list. All right, no, let's just set that true. So let's do it in this let. So let buffer name ref card and let also inhibit read only to true. Close that let. Okay, let's try that. So we don't need this anymore. We do want to set read only mode. All right, let's redefine this. Let me close this. Redefine this down here. Okay, let's try it. Ref card display mode test. There we go. So down at the bottom here, we have our ref card, and it's only as big as the text that was in the file, which is exactly what we wanted. Press Q, it goes away. I try it again, test, brings it back up. Okay, cool. Now is view mode what we want? I don't know. Control HM for commands. Major mode is org. I mean, info mode seems fine. Although, here's the difference, I think. So let me quit that. And then if I press Q, the window goes away. But if we look in my list of buffers, we can see that that buffer is still around, still hanging around. So it doesn't kill it. I think that's the difference between view mode and not view mode. It's when you press Q, I'd like it to like kill the buffer. Like I want it to go away for good. Bye-bye buffer. But it doesn't. And that may be okay for now. That may be okay for now. So we've defined, okay, let's go back to my to-do list before we get too off track here. So define a function to display a file in temporary buffer. That is done. That's done. Done. Now, create a minor mode. The reason I was thinking about creating a minor mode is because I previously came across this apparently, that if I pressed Q, it wasn't going to destroy the buffer or kill the buffer. But I wanted to use Q to kill the buffer. So, okay, for example, let's set this view read-only mode to nil. To nil. And see what happens. So now let's redefine this, call it again, go to test. I'm in it. Now if I press Q, that just goes to my evil binding of trying to define a keyboard macro, which is not what we want. So I want it to go away with a simple Q. But what I originally thought about trying was something like keymap local set, keyboard Q, and we're going to say kill buffer and window. Kill it all. So let's try that. Define it, run it, boom, test org, boom. If I press Q, it still tries to define a keyboard macro for me. And I don't know key maps well enough to know how to override what evil is defining Q as. So like if we look at this function, keymap local set, give key a local binding as command, which is what I want. Command is the command definition to use. The binding goes in the current buffer's local map, which in most cases is shared with all the buffers in the same major mode. Other relevant function document in the keymaps group. So I also don't know how to know what keymaps are currently being shown. Let's see if there's a variable. So key map, we have Yas key map mule, face menu info link, company my key map. Help key maps seen. That might be what we want. Name history. Become key maps. Search key maps. Key map prefix. Hydro key map. No. Local. Oh, evil local key maps A list. Association list of key map variables that must be something. Evil global key maps A list. Evil minor mode key maps A list. Association list of evil mode states to minor mode key map. You know what? This could be as simple as setting one of those. So if we also do evil, and I'm going to export these into an embark buffer. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Oh, darn it. Variable evil key map embark. What do I want to do? I want to whoops, not that. Key map. I want to export what I'm seeing here into a buffer, which I thought, well, I can't remember how to get up there and look in there, so I'm just using my mouse, which is embarrassing. Embark, collect, export. So I thought it was E. E, capital E. No. Let's try it again. Control V, evil key map. There was also S, capital S. That'll work. Okay, so evil local key maps A list. Here's all the A lists. Association list of key map variables that must be reinitialized in each buffer. Oh, no. That's not what I'm looking for. But we do have all the different key maps. Visual state, local, minor mode. I wonder if I could just set the keyboard, the key in evil's local minor mode for like normal state, for example. All right, let's go over here to minor mode, see what that is. Oh, these are like all the, no, I don't want that. Okay. Now, how do we set a key within a key map? Because this evil normal state local minor mode key map sounds like it could be helpful. Okay, so let's look documentation for key maps. I'm going to go back to dash, go key map, prompt, map, key map, set key map, no, make, well, no. Defining, creating key maps. Let's see what's in there. In here, okay, so creating key maps, inheritance, prefix keys, active key maps. Oh, key map basics probably in there. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Remapping commands, changing key bindings. Define key. Okay. Define key. This function sets the binding for key and key map. Let's go back to Emacs. Once I find what I'm looking for, sometimes I just like to look at it in Emacs. I want this to be small. Thank you. Again, using the mouse. Embarrassing. And we want to look at the help documentation for define key. Oh, it goes on here. Awesome. Define key, key map key, definition. And keymap, define key sequence key as def. Oh, this is a legacy function. See keymap set for the recommended function to use instead. All right, let's see that. Whoa, that's all the way up here. Perfect. Set key to definition in keymap. So keymap key definition. All right, let's try that. Let's give that a shot. Although, if that is that going to be buffer? I don't want queue to be redefined in everything. But let's try it in this evil normal state local map key map. All right. Go away. You go away. Actually, I'm going to copy this. So yank to the end of that. Yank to the P. Okay. Go away. So you go away. If I call ref card display mode test, and within here I call, what was it? Keymap set. Yeah, keymap set, and it takes the keymap, which was evil normal state local map. Okay. The key is keyboard Q, and the function is kill buffer and window. All right. If I press Q, it goes away. If I press Q here now, I'd steal a keyboard macro. Perfect. What about in here? Oh, that's going to be Q. Okay. So what was that? So instead of this, what in the world happened there? Okay. So instead of this line, we want keymap set. And the keymap is evil normal state local map. Keyboard Q, and it's kill buffer and window. All right, so let's redefine it. Whoops. Redefine it. Close these. Call it test. Displays it. Press Q. It goes away. Now, is it in the buffer list? Let's look at my buffer list. Ref card. No, it's not in the buffer list. We did it. I don't think we need a minor mode then. Now, the pros and cons I could think of for a minor mode is, one, we could overlay our own keys on top of it so we don't have to override. Like, this is overriding evil. So what if you aren't using evil? Right? Like if I release this and you aren't an evil user, which, first of all, how dare you, then this isn't going to do anything for you. The queue won't do it. So maybe we will have to create a minor mode, or at least our own key map to overlay on top. But again, the potential benefits of a minor mode are, when we activate it, we could have hooks, so that once the ref card is displayed, you could hook into that somehow. If I can't think of really what you'd want, how you'd want to hook into it, but that's the beautiful thing about Emacs is, like, you just can do what you want. I think you could do that without hooks if you used like advice, which I've only done once. So that's a way to get around it, I think, if it's not its own mode. Or I could even just define, without a minor mode, I can just have some variables set up for hooks of my own that I could explicitly call. Let's keep going though. This is kind of done. So let's say done So we've done this. Use Q to quit. So to do define key map. Question mark. But this is done. Let me save that. And actually, I should be committing these. So we have our function. You know what? Let's go ahead and just delete this. I don't want to commit that because we don't need it. We should add some documentation. Let's just add some quick documentation here. Display reference card at bottom of window. Oh, that could be customizable too. To do customize window location. Put that down here. Okay. Let me save that. And now this string here will come up. Like, let me redefine the function. And now if we press meta X, you can see our documentation now. It shows up. I'm using marginalia and vertigo to display these things. But like if we went to the documentation, so if I went Control H, F, went to ref card display card, then it's part of our documentation here. Display reference card at bottom of the window. Not in any key maps. Sad. Okay, so now let's commit this. We stage everything, just commit it all. What do we want to say? Feature. Create ref card. Display card function. It works. Displays a reference card at the bottom of the window. Reference card specified by the file name. Bottom window. Okay. Let's get that. So, like, if we hadn't called this interactively, then we'd have to pass in the ref card display card, the file name ourselves. So, like, if I went ref card display card and just called it, it would give us an error here because we have wrong number of arguments because it's expecting file name. So, like, we could go ref card display card and then just pass in a directory. So development ref card mode, like we just displayed itself, ref card mode .el. Yeah, see, it displays it down there. In org mode, which obviously isn't an org mode file, which again, that could become customizable. But for now, it's not. So let's move this to do up here. Now, what do we want? Let's try creating a key map, because I don't think that's something I've done. It'd be fun to do that, just even so we can use this queue. Let's do it. Okay, so go to our help, info, up. We're in files. Let's go to key maps. Is that a top level? Let's see, key, nope, not key P, key. Standard key maps, list of some standard key maps. No, key maps, defining the bindings from keys. Yes, in there, we want to create a key map. All right. Here we describe the functions of creating key maps. Make sparse key map. This function creates and returns a new sparse key map with no entries. A sparse key map is the kind of key map you usually want. Okay, the new key map does not contain a card table, unlike make key map, and does not bind any events. If you specify a prompt, that becomes the overall prompt string for the key map. Why would there be a prompt string for a key map? You should specify this only for menu key maps. Aha. A key map with an overall prompt string will always present a mouse menu or a keyboard menu if it is active. I don't know if we want that. Make key map. Function creates and returns a new full key map. That key map contains a card table with slots for all characters without modifiers. Yeah, I don't think we want that. Define keymap. You can create a keymap with the functions described above and then use keymap set to specify key bindings for that map. When writing modes, however, you frequently have to bind a large number of keys at once, and using keymap set on them all can be tedious and error-prone. Instead, you can use define keymap, which creates a keymap and binds a number of keys. Here's a very basic example. So define keymap, we have n / f previous line, Control-C, quit window. This function creates a new sparse keymap, which we want, defines the keystrokes in pairs, and returns the new keymap. It signals an error if there are duplicate key bindings in pairs. Okay, pairs is a list of alternating key bindings and key definitions. In addition, the key can be a special symbol menu. Okay, interesting. Number of keywords can be used before the key definition pairs to change features. Full create a no, we don't want that. Parent. The value should be keymap to use as the parent. I don't think so. Keymap. The value should be a keymap instead of creating a new keymap. Specified keymap is modified. No. Suppress. Be suppressed. I don't think that's it. Name. The value should be a string to use as the menu. Prefix. No. Macro. Def var keymap name. By far the most common thing to do with a keymap is to bind it to a variable. This is what virtually all modes do. A mode called foo almost always has a variable called foo mode map. Okay. This macro defines name as a variable, passes options and pairs to define keymap, and uses the result as the default value for the variable. It signals an error if there are duplicate key bindings and pairs. Options is like keywords. There's an optional doc. Provides a doc string. Examples are good. Def var keymap. EWW text area map. Parent is text mode map. Is there a view mode map? Variable view mode map. There is a view mode map. What if that was, is there a read-only mode map? Read-only mode map. No. So we could make the parent be view mode. That could be interesting. Copy the keymap. We don't want that. All right. So I think this macro of define keymap might be what we want. So let me split the screen here. And let's what was it? Where is it? Macro def var keymap. Okay, def var dash keymap. The name of it. It should be ref card mode map. Okay, the parent will be view mode map. And here's what we want. We want Q to be, what was it? Kill buffer and window. Kill buffer and window. All right. So let's define that. So now we have ref card mode map. Now, how do we enable a keymap? So let's go up. Inheritance of keymaps, active keymaps. How Emacs searches the active keymaps. Controlling active maps. Each buffer has a local keymap to override the standard global bindings. A minor mode can also override it. So controlling active maps. That's what we want. Global map, current global map. These don't look right. Current local map. Returns, no. We want to set something. Current minor mode maps. Use global map. Use local mode. Or sorry, use local map. This function makes keymap the new local keymap of the current buffer. Keymap is nil. Buffer is low. No local keymap. Use local map returns nil. Most major mode commands use this function. Minor mode map a list. Okay, so far that's the one that sounds the most promising. Minor mode overriding map a list. This variable allows major modes to override the key bindings for particular minor modes. I don't think so. Overriding local map. This variable holds a key map to use instead of the buffer's local key map. Any text property or overlay maps, and any minor mode key maps. I don't think we want to override. I think we just want to activate. Special event map, emulation modes. No. Set transient map. No. I don't think. Which takes precedence over other key maps for one or more subsequent keys. No. All right, what was it? Something local mode. Use local map. Let's try that. So instead of this, we will use local map. Ref card display. No, ref card mode map. Try that. Defined. Let's use it. Ref card display card test. It's there. I can use my evil bindings. What if I press Q? Oh, it's gone. That's good. So there was something in here to return the local map. So current local map. Let's see if it's in that list. So let's run it. Test. Let's run. Let's just look at the variable. Control H V of current local map. Oh, that's a function. So let's call it current local map. Okay, 113. So key map 113 is kill buffer and window. That's got to be our queue. Okay, cool. So that's our top key map. And then from there, it goes down to my normal state. So that must be evil. So it looks like it kind of inherits or drops through. So if it's not in that first key map, it'll go down to the next one, and so on until it finds the key that you press. Cool. So we don't need a minor mode. Okay, so get out of here. Nice. All right, let's save this and commit it. What we have done, define key map. Done. Put it up there. Create minor mode. I don't think we need it anymore. I don't think we need these either. Okay, so let's put this at the bottom. All right. Commit it. Feature create and use custom ref card mode map key map. Right now, only Q is bound to kill buffer and window. All right, one thing I forgot is I left this in here. So let's delete that, save it, and then do like a fix up on that one. Okay, so now that's in our commit. All right. Is it weird that we have a ref card mode map, but not in ref card mode? Could be. Maybe I just need to rename it. Because really, this is what the key map that we want while the display card function, after the display card function is called. So what if we did ref card display card map instead? So instead of mode, ref card display card map. I like that better. Let's save that and commit it. Because we don't have a mode, even though my file name is named mode, but that's okay. Let's refactor, rename ref card mode map to ref card display card map. This isn't really a mode yet, So y have a mode map variable. All right, cool. Now let's customize the card directory. I don't know about this window location. I mean, we could have it be able to be customized like this display buffer bottom thing. Just, you know, the list of those options. But for now, I'm just going to pop it to the bottom. But we do need to customize this card directory. So customizable variables. How do we do that? I think it's def custom. So if we do Control H F def custom, let's look at the documentation. Declare symbol as a customizable variable. Symbol is the variable name. Okay. It should not be quoted. Standard is an expression specifying the variable's standard value. It should not be quoted. It is evaluated once by def custom, and the value is assigned a symbol if the variable is unbound. The expression itself is also stored so that customize can reevaluate it later to get the standard value. Doc is a variable documentation. This macro uses def var as a subroutine, which also marks the variable as special, so it is always dynamically bound even when lexical binding is to t. The remaining arguments should have the form keyword value. Okay, so let's do what we know first. So we call def custom. Put this at the top. Def custom ref card card directory, cards directory. How about that? And the standard is going to be the user's Emacs directory / ref cards. So there is a way to do that. So like here, I did this little tilde, which we can use. I'm not sure this is how portable this is. So we can do something better because Emacs has that built in. But if we do Control H F, I think it's user Emacs. Look at user Emacs file. We don't want that. User dir. No. Emacs dir. No. Wow, a lot of Emacs things in here. Actually, it may not be a function. Maybe a variable. User directory. User Emacs directory. There we go. So let's use that. So the default is going to be a concatenation of user Emacs directory and ref cards. We'll okay. This the reason I stopped there is this slash has a special meaning on read file name. I'm pretty sure. So like, let's go down. So if we execute this, it shows we have the slash in it, so it shows all the files. So what if we remove this slash and try it? So you can see it only auto completes up to that point, so it doesn't know that's a directory yet. So now we just have to press the slash, and now we can get into that directory. So we always want the slash there. That could be something we do programmatically, like ensure the slash is there. We could also put it in the documentation string, or we could just like let the user figure that out on their own. I don't like letting the user figure it out on their own because the user is me in like a year, and I'm like, what the heck? Why can't I change this? Okay, so that's our standard. And then we need our documentation. The directory your ref cards are stored in. Use a trailing slash. Let's just do that for now. Ooh, that's interesting. I wonder if like on Windows, if it would be a backslash. I really don't know. So maybe we can't set this like this. as default. I wonder if there's a way to create a file system path. Function file path, shrink file path. Directory path, direct path. Make dir, no. Maybe just search for path. Exit path, base path. Path separator. The connection local value of path separator. Return path separator. Okay, so that's it. That's what we need to do. So, where's the F? F path separator. Return path separator. What if we call it F path separator? It returns a slash. Okay. What was path separator though? Separator. Oh, a colon. I don't want that. Must be a. Okay, so instead of setting this like this, we can say F path separator. I think we have to call it. Like, what if we execute that? Yes, that works. Cool. Okay, so we have documentation. Now we need the rest of our arguments. The following keywords are meaningful. Type. Value should be the widget type for editing the symbol's value. This should be a string. So type string. Is it quoted like that? Probably. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, options. Value should be a list of valid members. Initialize. Value should be a function used to initialize the value. Set the value of the symbol when using customized user interface. I don't think so. Get. No. Require. Set after. Risky. Safe. I don't really know what those are. Local. Not local. Group. Value should be a customizable group. Group will be ref card. Put that up there. Link. Documentation. No. Version. Package version. Tag. Use label a string instead of the item's name to label the item in customization menus and buffers. No. Load file. No. All right, let's try this. So let's close that up. Define it. Void variable ref card. Oh, there. All right, defined. So now if we do customize group, is ref card in there? Ref, it is. Ref card cards directory. Let's take a look at it. String state standard. So can we set? Oh yeah, there we go. You can set it in there. Cool. All right, so now instead of this, change for that, we can use ref card cards directory. Let's redefine it and see if it still works. Redefine it, ref card display card. Yes. No. Symbol's value as variable is void ref card display. Oh, I forgot to do this, define the key map. Okay, let's try it again. Ref card display card, test. Yes. Perfect. Go away. Perfect. So let's commit that. Save it, commit it. Yeah. Yep. All right. Change. Add ref card cards directory custom variable. Eventually, we'll also use that. Like I want to, oops, done. Save it, and then stage it, commit it, fix it up on that commit, done. Okay. I also want to be able to easily create a new ref card. So this could also be used in that. So when we're creating a new ref card. Let's add that to do. To do, create a new ref card. Let's do that and we'll be done. I'm not sure how long we've been going, but let's try that and then we'll be done. Maybe about an hour, a little over an hour. Yeah. So we have ref card display card. Let's do define the function. Let's get rid of this. A ref card new or create card. And this is, we want the title, and we'll use the title to, should we do the file name or the title? Because if it's file name, it'd have to have the .org in it. But again, that's assuming that we're forcing org mode on these, which for now is a yes. What if, I wonder if a major mode can inherit from another major mode. Like if we had our own major mode that inherited from org mode, but that was customizable. So the base mode, like a ref card base mode or something like that. No, because then they'd have to define it. That'd be weird, because when you define the major mode, I don't think we can change that on the fly. We have to redefine it. Okay, well, let's not worry about that for now. Let's just assume it's all going to be org mode. So the title, let's do the title so we force it into org mode. Create a new org mode ref card with the provided title. All right, so this is going to be interactive. And now we want to take a string and use that string to create a file. And these are things I don't know how to do. So let's look it up. Interactive is a function. So Control H, F, interact. Oh yeah, there we go. Interactive. Arg descriptor. That's what we want. Use the argument of interactive as a string containing a code letter followed optionally by a prompt. Some code letters do not use IO. To pass several arguments, the command concatenate individual strings, separating them by new line characters. I don't think we want anything more than that. Okay, prompts are passed to format. We want these, okay, code letters. There we go. We want name buffer character, command, directory name, pair, no. We just want a string. Key sequence, value of mark as a number, any string. Number red, number red. Can we, any string does not inherit the current input method. Can we just like read the string from the mini buffer? Well, let's just try these and see if it reads from the mini buffer. Yeah, that's a cool thing. We just try it, and if it doesn't work, try something else. Or was that first string one? Key sequence, value, any string inherits the current. Let's try that. So it's going to be like this. Ref card. This is just going to be our prompt. Ref card title. And we're just going to message title just to make sure we got it right. Okay, so let's define that and call it ref card create card. Ref card title. Evil surround. Okay, that's what we needed. M. Capital M. So go away. So we have our title. I'll leave that there for now. What do we want to do with that? We want to create a new file with that name. So Let's go back to our help info. Go back up, go up from keymaps. Go back to files. Writing to files, visiting files, reading files, and Emacs buffer spreading. So we don't want to write the file yet. We want to open it so that the user can put what they want in it and then save it. So let's try visiting files. Excuse me. Visiting a file means reading a file into a buffer. A file and a buffer are two different things. A file's information. Yeah. Visiting files. For historical reasons, these files have starting with find rather than visit. If in a Lisp program, if you want to look at the contents of a file but not alter it, the fastest way to use insert file contents and a temporary buffer, which is what we did earlier. Interesting. Find file selects a buffer visiting the file name. Like this is what I would like if I had to press Control X, Control F. This is what I would use to open a file that I knew the location of anyway. So I think this is what we want. Find file. No select. Other window. Oh. Maybe find file other window. Excuse me. Let's try that. Not find file read only. Wildcards, hook, not found, functions, find file literally. That's a variable. All right, let's try find file other window. Find file, where was it? Other window. All right, split let's go back. Okay, so interactive. Find file, other window of title. No, we have to do the file name. So let file name equal, we need to concatenate our new custom variable. So we concatenate this. So go down. Concat that with no, we don't need a slash. We just need the title. With the title and then a .org. .org. Then we do that up here. Well, let's mess with the file name. Let's just make sure that that is what we actually wanted. So let's call that again. Ref card, create card, not test because that's the one we already have. How about geo? Emacs refcards geo.org. Perfect. So we don't want that message file name anymore. We want the find file other window title. No, file name. File name. Is that all we need to do? Is that it? I think that might be it. That's not what I wanted. Control E. Define it. Let's call it. Create card. Evil surround. Ref card evil surround. Perfect. Evil surround. What if? I mean, we could insert this automatically. I don't know if that's something we want to do though. Let's not. Let's not. Let's just use that up to the user. So if I save it, okay, on my queue, the queue doesn't quit, which is great. So I'm gonna kill the buffer. Go away. Now, if I display the card, ref card, display card, it's in there. Evil surround. Boom. Oh, it's so nice when it works. So that was really easy, but we got to reuse our custom variable. That's great. So save it, commit it. Ref card, create card. Create ref card. So we did that. We created the to-do and done the to-do at the same time. All right, done. Oh wait, what was that? Yeah. What did we stage? We did stage that. We staged that. Okay. Yeah, that's what we want. Commit feature. Add a ref card, create card function. Actually, I can't remember if it's command or function. One of them is, there's like specific words for them. So a function or command. One of them is when you can call it interactively. And I can't remember which is which. So if I'm using it incorrectly, I apologize. All right, I think that's all I want to do for now. We did pretty good here. Yeah, let's go out quits. Thanks for joining me. I hope that was helpful to you if you're learning how to do things, how to look up information, how to make sense of some things. I obviously had to overcome some problems, some bugs, figure out some things on my own, which is why I kind of like doing these. Is sometimes I know as a new developer, it can be helpful to watch a developer who may know a little more than you stumble through things. And a lot of YouTube videos or a lot of instructional videos are just like, here's how you do it. I'm this all-knowing being, and someday you'll be like me. But instead of that, I want to show you that this is a process, an iterative process where we try things out. It doesn't work. We figure out why it doesn't work. We figure out how to fix it, and then it works. And sometimes, like in this ref card create card, it just works, which was great. Although we did like try this interactive thing first, we didn't know, so we looked at documentation. But anyway, it's stuff that you can do as well. You have that power, you have the ability. Emacs is great at telling you documentation, and it gives you what you're looking for, which is awesome. So again, thank you. I'm Jeffrey Lessel, and I'll see you next time.